a lot of people here, which is nice. But before we start, like one thing I want to just set as like a tone of this whole thing. It's not going to be like a college lecture which you attend just for the sake of it, because it's for you primarily. And I'll take like 5 minutes to tell you why it is for you. But the point I want to drive home is you need to be very interactive. Like if you don't want to unmute yourself and say something, just type something in the chat, because there's no other way I'm going to know if I'm being followed or not. Make sense?
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna try and impress you off of this presentation itself, because I'm not exactly sure if what we're aiming to do in the session will get through or not. Not to like put your morale down, I'm gonna try my best to make it through, but yeah, that's what it is for. So installing Stable Diffusion, why bother installing? Two major points. Design and video team, you obviously know why Stable Diffusion is important. It's basically an AI tool. Okay, for those of you who don't know what Stable Diffusion is, it's an AI web UI interface where you're going to just type in some text as a prompt and you're going to get an image generated out of it. You can also club those images with certain parameters and make a video out of it. There's also a feature called that, the forum in Stable Diffusion. But what we're going to primarily look at is the text to image part. I'll see if I have time to show some more stuff as well. Basically, a lot of things you can do with it. So design and video team, it's pretty obvious. It gives you a very good starting point on top of which you can build with your core design skills. So whatever, call it AI art, if you will, that I've been able to generate so far, none of it right off the bat, like from the oven, looks. Okay, yes, Kriti, I'm recording it. Okay, nice. So none of the art that comes out of Stable Diffusion is like ready to be used for your creatives. A lot of work has to be done on it, which is why I say it's very important for design video team, because you already have those core design skills, be it navigating through it in Photoshop, or if it's a video, like finessing it inside After Effects or whatever. So it's very imperative for you. The reason I insisted on having the creative team and solutions team as well is because this is a great tool for brainstorming and gathering references. Like let's say I'm gonna pick examples if that's okay. Let's say Pallavi is writing concepts for some brand and she has this very nice idea in her mind, but only text is not conveying her point. Right? She wants some form of visual representation of it. So if she has this tool on her system, she can just go and put some text prompts and have a visual imagery which she can put as a reference on the doc, which just makes it a lot easier for the designer or the editor or the animator to understand exactly what she means there. And solutions team, the same thing. If you want to pitch something to the client or whatever, maybe, I don't know, there can be a lot of uses, but maybe you want to, basically it comes down to you want to visually communicate your thoughts in your mind. So that's why this is amazing. Okay, why bother installing? I hope you're clear on why we're doing this in the first place. Now the installation itself has just 3 steps. The first step is getting Python in your system. And don't worry, I will like break down every step of it. The second is to get something called as Git, and the third is to clone automatic 1111. Now, before we get into like the technicalities of these three things, firstly, I want to get on the same page. Like we are on the same page that we all are using a Windows machine, especially for those who are trying to follow along this session. First thing is we need to have a Windows machine. Yes. Second thing we need is a GPU which has at least 4 GB of RAM. Now, if it's very technical for you, let me try and break it down a little bit. Now GPU, if you open your task manager, if you right click here and say task manager, or just go in your start and say task manager. Over here, you should see, now Windows 11 has these fancy things, but if you're using Windows 10, it'll be on the left side. In your performance tab at the bottom, you're gonna have your GPU, okay? Now GPU, there are two aspects to it. One is GPU memory and one is your system memory. And you will understand why I'm stressing on this, because this is important. Currently, don't look at my system configuration, it's pretty high, but you should have at least 4 GB. Like my GPU has 8 GB and my RAM is at 64. So Stable or whatever AI thing you're doing will run like butter. But if that's not the case for you, it'll be a bit of a struggle, but eventually you'll get to it. Now, the reason I'm stressing on this is something I wanted to like visually say, but I didn't get the time to put it in here. Why something like Midjourney is is a paid thing, because they say like pay a subscription and get so many prompts or whatever. And why Stable Diffusion, what we're trying to download here, is free. This is an important point that I need to drive home. That's why I'm doing this kind of illustration. This is paid because you are essentially renting things out. Okay, all the GPU nonsense that I just said, you don't need to get into it. Just give Midjourney the money, and they will have their cloud servers, and they'll figure out how to run all of that AI math behind the scenes for you. It's kind of like how we use Google Drive, Google Sheets, Google Excel, whatever, without ever thinking about how those are stored or whatever, because we just if you're using free plan, that's a different thing, but you can just pay for those services. Over here, you're actually putting it on your system, right? So you don't have to pay anything, but you have to have a stronger system. So everything has like a pro and con. If you really want to get into it, the only way you have is either you keep paying something like Midjourney, or you upgrade your system configuration, which is the other option. Now, this second thing,
You said GPU to be 4 GB or your RAM to be 4 GB?
yeah, that is a bit confusing. I'll tell you what. RAM is this thing, memory. Okay,
No, but
RAM
for,
is
I understood that.
huh,
What do we need as 4 GB minimum?
you need GPU memory as 4 GB. This
Oh,
thing
okay.
here, the thing you
Got
see
it.
here, dedicated GPU memory. Mine is at 8 GB. You need to have at least 4 GB for it to
Understood.
like run. Yeah. So yeah, this is a important thing to know because of this factor. Now in this video, we're gonna no video in this session we're gonna try and install Stable Diffusion, which is like basically buying this stuff, which is why a lot of people get confused in this. And I want to just say I'm not like an expert in this or anything. I've just like gone through iterations of trying to figure it out. So I thought I'll just share it so it's easier for people to like. Although like what do you call it? The trial and errors I had to do, I can just put it here and like have at least how many people here? 32. Let's say at least 5 people install Stable Diffusion post this session. Okay, that is pretty much it. Nice. We're gonna go ahead and step by step install this, but before that, I'm gonna give you like a teaser of sorts of how Stable Diffusion actually looks. Because even if you don't end up installing Stable Diffusion on your system and all that jazz that I'm saying, you can at least treat this session as an intro to Stable Diffusion, if you will, so that you get at least something out of it. I am gonna switch a lot of things off because it's gonna um, crash at some point. Okay, so once you load Stable Diffusion, it looks something like this, where you have a UI. Okay, there's a big prompt thing here. You just put in text and you just hit generate. It's just as simple as that. But again, there are a lot of settings which you have to go about fiddling with here. Now, does anyone have like a interesting prompt to put in? Anything interesting?
Or let's just say the image that you have in the on the first slide. How would you generate that?
Sure. So he's talking about this image.
The
I don't quite remember what the prompt for this was, but it should be something on the lines of man in spacesuit on an abandoned, if that's how you spell it. How do you spell abandoned? Abandoned planet, dark. Again, it comes down to how descriptive you can be. So, dark space environment. Again, that is an autofill as well. You can put negative prompts as in if there's something that you do not want to happen, you can put that here. Sample. I'll try going ahead and explaining all of this, but I'll just run it with one like a very basic setup. So default negative SFW. I'll explain what all of this is, and professional scenic photographs. That's something that works nice. So I'm gonna hit generate. I will see what it gives. Yeah. So this is just very basic lines of text. And this is what you get right off the bat. What is this? Microsoft Edge.
oh, nice.
Understood.
Okay,
This is
got
sick.
it.
The negative aspect is also sick because I don't think Midjourney has that, or even if they do, it's like a code which you'll need to learn. What I wanted to know is, let's say I have a brand, Daybreak, right? New brand that we're onboarding.
Mhm.
It's a specific brand, a specific toothpaste
Yep.
that I want, and I want this person to brush his teeth with that toothpaste in that outer space. So how do you get to that?
No, so as far as I know, that
Hmm.
won't really happen. What you will have, again, at the beginning of it, I said that it's not like you will get something ready to use out of this as well. For that,
Hmm.
what you're saying, you'll have to get like a starting point. Like, I don't know if it's gonna work here, but abandoned planet. This is very weird. But brushing his teeth. Let's say if you can get some form of an image where he's actually brushing his teeth or whatever, and then after the fact that you have this image, you can use Photoshop to put your
Understood.
brand toothpaste or whatever. I mean, he's not. I don't know if he's brushing. They'll have to do a lot of trial and errors here, but the process is the same when you want to do it for any sort of brand. Like for example, the ones where we did it for Society Tea.
Hmm. Correct.
I guess it's not quite understanding brushing teeth inside the helmet. But again, the gist remains that you give it something which resembles what you want, and then after the fact, like once you have this image, you can download it. Then you use that image to, like you use your brand image to superimpose on it and make it look like that's the brand thing.
Gotcha.
That's yeah, because there is an image to image in all of this, but okay, let me just show it. So this is one feature where you put in text and you generate image. There are a lot of other features like you have image to image. And it's going to send it to image. And in here you have something called as sketch. So let's say I wanted a sun in this picture. Okay, this picture which was generated with stable as well, stable itself. So I can change the color here to something like yellow, like how the sun would be. It would actually be very weird, but let's try putting in the sun here. I just roughly try and paint this part here, and you change the prompt to sun or like bright sun, something like bright shining sun. And now over here, your settings play very important role. So this that I'm doing every time is just a method that works better. Now here, the most important slider is this denoising strength slider. So if I was to keep this at 0 and generate this image, you'll basically get the same thing without anything. It's like nothing is done. But if you keep it at 1, this denoising strength at 1 and generate, you're going to get an image which is nowhere close to your current image. It will be completely different. Just be a sun and completely ignore all the other things here. So it did take the approximate position of the sun, but it did not take into account the image that we have. So if you keep this denoising strength at somewhere around zero point 0.5, it will try its best to keep a lot of this while introducing the new thing that I want here. So again, it's not kept the original person, has changed that, but it's added the sun at the spot that I painted it, and it's changed
Understood.
things here. So this is sketch. I will just quickly show one more interesting feature here, which is this is the second one, sketch. The third one is in paint. So if I come into in paint, this is great if you want to fix faces, because AI will 9 out of 10 times ruin up your faces. So if you just come in here and paint the face. Okay. So this image to start with is a woman, like an astronaut. So if I was to change the face to man, astronaut, I don't know, I'm not spelling it right. So only that part which we masked out is going to give us a different result. Like everything else is going to stay the same, and only this part is going to change. So keep generating it. You can get different versions. When you can be more descriptive, right? Like you want a particular kind of helmet or whatever. Photoshop AI for the designers here on call, it works. I would say sometimes it works better because content aware fill के लिए बहुत अच्छा use होता है Photoshop AI. It's like best. I will probably try showing some of it. But this works better if you want to like blend in things, right? But again, आप अपने brand का image या bottle डाल के यहाँ blend नहीं कर सकते. It is very generic, like whatever it gives. That image will be blended in. If you just put an image of your story bottle, there's no way to do that. I mean, as of now, there might be. I'm not sure. Okay, so this is more or less the gist of what it is. Over here, you see a checkpoint, and there are a ton of checkpoints. I'll go about explaining what those mean. So deliberate V2 safe tensors, it's a very common thing which everyone uses, which is why this image looks like what majority of AI art out there is. But there's a website where you can search for a ton of things. Like if you want something specific to architecture, there are models for that. If you want something very specific to, let's say, football or what do you call it, anime, then you have your models for that. So I will try showing that at some point. Does anyone have anything that you want to know? Of course, it's no way I can like tell you all there is in this little thing in like this very short session, because we also have to install this thing, which is going to take a long, long time depending on your system. But anything you want to ask or say before I continue?
I just had one question, Rajmeet, that when we do image to image changes or editing, is it required that that image is generated through stable diffusion only, or we can,
No, you
uh,
can put any image.
yeah, we can import different images,
Yeah, you
right?
can just drag in any image here. I mean, let me see if I have a good image to use. Like anyone seen that thing which Tanmay Bhatt and his guy and the other guy does an overpowered, where they put the
Yeah,
Nike logo and
Yeah,
have all that stuff.
yeah,
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's like a very wrong misinterpretation. It doesn't work that way, the way they showed it. That's done through in Paint. That's done through Stable Diffusion, but it's not text to image. It's done through image to image. And let me see if I can do something like I have a Google Podcast logo here. Let's try. What does he say? Top view of forest, something like that. And I think you would do it in here. Let's say I think here. Hey, anyone who's having high hopes with this, don't. Okay, basically got nothing. So that's because the denoising strength is far too less. We have to like play with it until it has tried making like forests, or for them to like come out of. Okay, we got something. Yeah, we got something like what he does. But maybe that.
this is sick. This is exactly like solutions briefing creative. थोड़ा और झाड़ डाल, थोड़ा और झाड़ डाल. And then it's sick.
Yeah, so I'm basically trying to put the ball in like solutions code.
Oh, fair
You,
enough.
you're gonna design everything from now on, which is why we're doing this session. There's like an entire conspiracy behind it. Okay, awesome. I think I've done way too much marketing. I uh, from Hugging Face. मैं ये बार क्या बोल रहा हूँ मुझको समझ नहीं रहा. Okay, so your
Sorry, Rajmeet, sorry. I just saw that rent-free paid this thing, so I remembered a question.
हाँ जी.
You mentioned mid-journey, you have to rent what they provide you versus stable diffusion. You own it. What do you mean by renting? Like, what are you
No,
renting?
rent is like a very layman term of saying it. It's basically like cloud storage. You've used Google Drive gives you storage, right?
Yeah,
So Google
yeah.
Drive gives you 100 GB storage for 130 a month, which you
Huh.
can just use their servers, and as long as you have an internet, you can put your stuff there, download it from wherever you want. And compare that to buying an actual hard drive of 100 GB and that you keep it at home. So
Yeah.
you have to pay for that upfront and do like a little more in terms of software over here. You have to do a little more jaggujet in getting that actual thing because it's not paid. You won't have to pay for this. But yeah, it just makes it easier for anyone who doesn't want to go through this process, which I'm going to show
Installing
hopefully.
the software and everything. Okay, got it.
Yeah, yeah, that's what it is. That is just like a analogy, not exactly. Okay, so now I'm gonna actually.
One more thing. How wide is this their spectrum? So, for example, if I need an image, where do they pull images from?
Oh, that I have no
Uh,
idea.
no
I
idea.
I would say from the internet.
From the internet, which is allowed to do it, right?
So I'll do one thing. Wait, before we actually get into the nitty gritties of installation, for anyone who's just not interested in it, at some point in installation, we'll have to go through this website here, which I am loading up on my screen,
Mm-hmm.
called SitVAI. Okay, Now here you have a bunch of models, and what are basically models? These are you saw safe tensors deliberate that I was using. That was one of these models. Now these are models that have been trained for a specific task. Like for example, if I was to search for an architecture model, these are models that have been trained with a lot of architecture images. So then you get results which are like depending on your prompts, you get results which are closer to that. So like this, there are a ton of models, and like again, where are they getting the data from? I don't know, internet.
Okay, understood.
So you can pick and utilize them as and however you want.
Yes, but it's like these are very heavy models. Like if I was to show you one, it's 3.95 GB just to download this thing, and then you install it and then you run it. So again, this whole process is for somebody who has like a big machine, and they mostly for like production places where they can afford to have so much storage, where they have so much RAM and like strong enough GPUs. So then they can pull off something like this. But for like a regular user, your machine is going to crash. It's not going to be able to handle so much. Which is why again your Midjourney exists, because it's lightweight, because they're looking after all that jazz. So like a normal user can also use it.
So a normal user can use it for even commercial purposes, and rights and all doesn't become a thing.
Oh,
If you want.
that I have actually no idea about.
Okay.
I've myself been super concerned about it, like
Hmm.
how do they account for rights? Because even Photoshop AI, it does like put images which I don't know, Shutterstock, you'll have to buy an image for like 2,500 or so, which is very weird. And it just it's maybe because AI is at a very young age at this point, and nobody's even caring so much about it. So soon there are going to be regulations, and then you'll have to pay certain things and get certain rights or whatever.
Okay. Got it.
But as long as it's free, you can enjoy it. Enjoy it as like a toy to play with. That's how I look at it. Okay, we are installing Python. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a few important links on on the main group. For anyone who's not on the main group, I will put it here in the chat so that it's easier. Mm, for these things, okay, for these things you need certain links. The first link that I'm dropping is of GitHub. If you open this, then you also drop it on the chat. So this is your official automatic 1111 is what is the interface is called automatic 1111. The main thing is called stable web diffusion. What? Stable diffusion web UI or control net, whatever. And this is like your official documentation for how to get this thing. If you scroll till the bottom where it says installation on, not this, yeah, automatic installation on Windows 11. These are the three things which we're going to use. Okay, now I need like a confirmation that everyone's at least, and this is again for those who are actually planning to install it with me. So you've come to this point where you see GitHub and you see these three links here, two links, and one is github.com. This is what we're going to clone towards the end of it.
Got it. Just wait. Wait here. I can't find it.
Okay, so if you just open that link I've added on the group, this should open this page. And when you scroll to the bottom, you're going to somewhere see installation and running, and an automatic installation on Windows. This part. Okay, so these are only the two links that you primarily need. Now, before we actually go about doing what we want to, you want to make sure that you don't have Python on your system. Now, I'm going to pull off a stunt where I'm actually going to delete Stable Diffusion from the system and then try to do it again, because how else will you understand? So this is my directory. I'm going to, is it running? Right. I'm deleting it. It's going to take a while because it's like 16 GB. Again, whichever drive you put in, make sure that's like 16 or 15, 16 GB free on it. Okay, that's the first thing. I removed the main thing. Now, this is something you have to follow along. Okay, go to your start and type in Python, and you shouldn't have any version of Python on your system. Now, I currently have the right version of Python. If something like this shows up, if only this is showing up, right? You search on Windows or whatever, that means you don't have Python. But if some form of Python is showing up, you will have to go to your control panel and remove that version of Python. So let me just reach there. When you come to your control panel, you're going to find inside P, you're going to find Python, Python 3.10.6 and Python Launcher. Just uninstall this. Right click and uninstall. Who actually has Python already on the system? Just let me know.
I highly doubt any of us would.
I have it. I will.
Yeah. Anyone who's like tried programming earlier or done some form of programming will have Python. So then then you don't have to do anything if you really don't have it in the system. But this is an important step because for me, for like 4 to 5 days, I was stuck on this because I had like a lot of versions of Python, and this Stable Diffusion works only with one version of Python, just one, 3.10.6, which is written here, that link. Okay, first thing was Python, second was Git, if you remember, Python and Git. And I'm going to install that as well. Let me just remove it from here. This session ain't ending in 45 minutes. Okay, so now I don't have Python. If I search for it, I'll be somewhere same as you. If I search for Git, I should not have it. I still have it. Okay, there's no Git as well. Okay, now back to your site where everyone had reached automatic installation on Windows. You want to click on this link here, Python 3.10.6. Right. It will open this page for Python. Okay. You want to scroll to the bottom until you find Windows Installer 64-bit. I'm waiting here until you reach. Once you do reach, just click on this Windows Installer. I don't think like modern laptops don't come in the 32-bit, so mostly you're gonna have to use 64-bit only. So just click on this and okay, Microsoft Edge. It is downloading. It'll be in your downloads folder. On this thing, Windows Installer 64-bit. When you click on this, it will give you, depending on your Chrome or browser settings, where you want to save it. So downloads, may I put it in downloads यहाँ पर.
ठीक है, download it.
For those who are not installing, you can just until that time sit and think of nice creative prompts. If at some point we get to installing it again, we can try playing a little bit. But for those who have been trying, Python is installed, I am hoping. Now we're going to do a thing a little differently, right? If you are not done or if you're in the process, just stop me there so that I know, because the other way is very difficult to know who all have done. So if you're someone who's stuck and is not done, then stop me. Okay. Okay, awesome. Okay, we've installed Python. You just similarly click on Git, this link, the second one. And for Git, you want to download this one, standalone installer, 64-bit Git for Windows setup. Again, the same thing, just click on it and wherever you want to install it. There's going to be occasional bugs, but just ignore that.
64-bit for Windows Portable or Windows Setup?
ये वाला सबसे ऊपर सेकंड वाला 4 लिंक है ना तो स्टैंड अलोन वाला 64-bit. So if everything is going right, for those who are following along, you should have two things, Git and Python. Okay, first thing I'm going to try and do is install, obviously we're going to do is install Python. Just double click on this thing here and come to this screen. Let me know whenever you come to this screen. Don't rush from here. It's important to stay here. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So the reason I told you to stop here is this one setting here called add Python 3.102 path. For those who are interested in theory, I don't know if anyone is, but inside Windows you have something called as environment variables, right? If you were to open this here, you don't need to understand this. I'm just telling you because theory. There is something called as path in your environment variables, and for Stable Diffusion to run, we should have an environment variable path for Python in it. So if you don't check this box while installing, then there's a very tedious process to do it afterwards. So click on this, add Python 3.102 path. That's very important. And this is fine. Install launchers for all users. That doesn't really matter. And just click on install now. You'll say you want to allow changes to your device. Yes. Again, before you click install, make sure that you add 3.102 path. Now, again, this will depend on two things. One is your internet speed. So if you're in office, I don't really know how. It's going to take a little longer. Or if you have a system which is like the processor is slow, that will also depend on how fast this happens. So don't feel like demotivated if things are happening way too fast here. I thought like I would do it on my laptop, but there's like echo. There's echo happening with the mic, so I avoided that. Are we here? Python installed.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. If nobody's stopping me, then I'm like we're done.
Rajma, mine is happening. It's
Whoa,
a
what? What is happening?
1 minute long. Just give us a minute.
I'm waiting. What happened last time?
Oh, yeah, we can move ahead.
Everyone's done. Python's installed. Yes.
Yeah, I think Rita and I are both. Rita's done.
Yeah.
Are you in office here?
Uh,
Okay. Nice.
Great. So
Second,
we're both sitting next to each other. What we'll do when Ajita wants to talk, I will unmute so that there's no echo or reverb.
only you talk. Don't let Ajit talk.
Cool. That works.
That is offensive.
Okay, Python is installed. Now we need to install Git. So again, the same process. Just double click on it, and here you don't have to click anything. Just you don't even if you're like interested, you can read this license agreement and click on next. Again, your default position wherever it's putting C program files Git. Just keep clicking next. Already exists. Would you like to? Yes. It won't show for you already exists. Only it does. Just keep clicking on next, doesn't matter. Use VM text editor, that's okay. Let Git decide, next. Git from command line also. Don't touch anything, just keep going next. This is a library, next. Just don't mess anything, just keep clicking next. Yeah, until you get to this part. Okay, your last thing should look something like this. View release notes, launch git bash. We don't want to launch this. Okay, a little bit of theory on why we're installing Git. Python, to because all the math is done by Python, that's why we need Python. Git is basically like your Windows PowerShell command prompt. If you want to use Git commands, okay, it will be like a long session if I explain what Git is. But basically, this Git thing allows you to do Git commands right here in command prompt, which is why we need to install it. That's all you need to know. Are we here? Are we done with this setup? So once you're done, just click on finish.
Sorry, do we take launch Git?
No.
Okay.
Just click on finish.
There's a landing page after I click on finish.
yeah.
It comes.
Is there
Just
anything
close
that I
it.
need to do on the
Just close
landing
it.
page?
No, just close it. As long as it's installed, is good.
Cool.
So now everything has gone right by this point. When you search for Python, you should have Python 3.10 64-bit. There should be an app in your system because we've installed it. And if you search for Git, there should be this Git bash app on your system. Two things. Let's just do like a quick cross check if these two things are here. Once that is done, you want to decide where you want to put your automatic 1111. So I'm just going to put it on C. Okay, whichever disk is like empty, or just put it there. I'm going to make a new folder here on your C drive, wherever there is more space. Okay, it doesn't have to be C drive, and just call it automatic 1111. You can call it anything you want. Just make a new folder, like a empty folder on your drive, and get inside it.
Sorry, Rajmi, could you just repeat the last point?
Yeah, so whichever drive on your PC is emptier, like have at least 15 GB on it, at least 15, okay. Just come in here and make a new folder. So right click, new folder, or you can do Control Shift N, however. And you can call it whatever you want. I'm just calling it A1111 for me to know where it is. But you can call it whatever you want and just come inside this empty folder that you made.
I quite like the automatic 1111. I've named it that.
You can name it anything you want. You can even name it Django 1111. It's not going to affect anything inside. Okay, I'm assuming everybody's done. Next step is, okay, is there anyone who's just basically lost at this point and doesn't want to tell me? Because I can probably fix it. The point of the session is to make sure that you fix it. Because if you try doing the same thing through YouTube, nobody's going to walk you like step by step where you're stuck. So this is like your chance to tell. Of course, you can come to me after the session as well, and we'll try to figure it out. But if there's anyone who is like, I don't want to stop the flow or something like that, don't bother about it. Just let me know. Once you're here in this folder thing, you want to click in here. Now, this is something not a lot of people would have done ever, actually. But when you click in here and you highlight this part, you just type CMD here inside this. Doesn't matter, all smaller caps, whatever. Just type CMD and press enter. So what this will do is this will open this particular folder that you created inside your Windows command prompt. I'll do it once again. You can even do it from CMD here, but then it will take you to see users. If you see, this is your address of where you exactly are, like your current directory. If you come in here and press CMD and hit enter, it will take you into this folder that we just created. So see automatic 1111, and then there should be a, what do you call it, caret at the end of it.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Now the last step of this process actually, pretty much.
Rajveer, could you just repeat that point one more time?
Yeah, sure. So this is your folder that you created, automatic 1111. You're here up until here, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you just go into it. That's an empty folder. You want to click on this address bar, which is this PC software C A1111, and click on this. It'll make the whole thing blue. It'll be highlighted.
But that doesn't happen when it's clicked on.
No, so it'll be something like this. I just select the whole thing. If it's something like this, select the whole thing.
I think it's a triple click and not like a double click. That happened with me also.
No, it's a single click. Okay, you did a double click.
I was pressing on A1111. You have to press in the empty area. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, the empty part, yes. Or if whenever you click it, just wherever you click, you just move it. Even backspace works. And say CMD. Type in CMD, press enter. Okay. Now you should have something like this, like a hacker screen. I'm gonna teach you how to hack now. So you want to come in here to your Git page. We've done the 3 parts. The first part was installing Python. Second part was installing Git. The final piece of this puzzle is to clone this repository into your system. Like, very heavy words, but don't worry about it. What you want to do is you want to select this part from Git clone, like drag from here till Git, till the end of it, and copy this with Control C. If you want to just do it, right click, copy. So from Git to webui.git. You want to copy this part and go back to your command. Where was it? Okay, you want to come in here and then paste it. I'm going to wait till here until you've reached this point. You've taken this part, git clone https github.com automatic 1111 stable diffusion icon webui.git.
Paste, no space.
For paste, you come in. Okay, I'll just do that once again. CMD, this is where we were. Just don't do anything. When it's blinking, just press Control V. That's all.
Got it.
Control V and just stay here. So I'll just tell you what this command is actually doing for a little bit of theory. This entire repository, the code and all of the requirements and everything. Yeah, one second. All of the code and everything we are trying to build into our folder. That's what we're doing. So what do we have to copy? Okay, this, you have the link to this page, Karina? Yes. So the third point here, where were we? Install Python, install Git. The third point says then they download the repository here. So you start dragging from Git clone and extend up to Git. That's what you copy. Yeah. Make sure you copy the whole thing.
Do we have to copy the full stop as well?
No, don't need it. I mean, you can put a full stop, but it's not needed.
Okay.
Actually, don't. I don't know, something weird happens.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, once that is done, you just simply press enter. Now, depending on your computer speed, this will come back to a blinking cursor once this is done. Now, all that this has done is it has brought in a folder inside your new folder called Stable Diffusion Web UI. And if you go inside it, you will have all the files which are on this GitHub repository. All these files, right? You could even manually do it, but this is a much better way to do it. So all of your files and everything is inside this folder. Are we till here? Where?
What are these files, just for my knowledge? Because do we need, like, does it need updation every now and then?
Yeah, you need.
Okay, got it.
I'll show it. Like, once the whole system is ready, it's a very simple command that you can do, and it will automatically update from the repository.
Okay.
So now we should have in your drive, you should have one folder called whatever you've named it. And inside that folder, there should be a folder called Stable Diffusion Web UI, which has all these folders, and you don't need to know. You need to know some of them. I'll tell which ones, but majority of them you don't need to know. Have we come up till here?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Everyone's up until here. Okay,
Yeah.
nice. So, okay, what are we left with? Now we're left with actually making it work. Now you could come in here and just play this batch file, but there are some things you need to do before you do that for you to not run into some weird errors. So you're gonna run Notepad on your system or any editor, actually doesn't matter. Just run Notepad, keep it open here, and what I want you to do is take this web user file. It's important, okay? Don't take any other file. Web UI user, at the end it should say Windows batch file. Drag it and put it into Notepad. Alternatively, you could come in here and say right click, edit with Notepad. Something like same thing should open up. So you should get these three things, like you're setting your parameters, and this is the important one which we got. Okay, nice. Now what you're gonna do is you're gonna copy. I'm gonna actually put. Let me see. Do we need all of it? I am copying this part and putting it on the group. What you're gonna take out of this is everything after command line. So I'm gonna drop it on the chat as well in case. So what I basically pasted is set command line args equals. What you want to copy is from xformers. So copy from xformers, auto launch, med VRAM, disable 9 check, precision full, no half, whatever is written. Doesn't matter.
Do you want us to copy the two dashes before xformers?
Yeah. Everything after command line args equal to, like you see on my screen right now. If it's a little smaller, I'll make it bigger. All of these are actually not needed, but I was trying to run it on my laptop earlier, so I came across a lot of issues. So these are all precautionary, moreover. This is the very much needed xformers. You could basically launch it only with xformers, but I'll tell you what the others do. Auto launch, what it does is every time you click on this thing, it will open your UI. Yes, good.
You have copied set command line to pura sentence you have copied. So do we have to copy the full sentence or just this
Okay,
X
so in that case, if you're copying the whole thing, now just paste it here. मतलब set command line args दो बार मत डालना, वो एक ही बार डालना.
अच्छा.
हाँ. Otherwise, if you want to paste it this way, just copy everything after here, from here, and paste it.
अच्छा, got it. हाँ. Okay.
Yeah. So auto launch is whenever you click on that file, we'll see, hopefully, it just runs directly on Chrome. Med VRAM, this lowers your RAM usage. Again, if you have a 4 GB RAM, you'll probably need this. Disable LAN check. For some reason, it just gives out black images. So that is for that. Precision, again, this is also for that. Precision full, no half. Opt split attention, I have no idea what this means. But just put it, because someone on the Reddit forum was like, it doesn't harm to put that. So I'm like, okay, fine. Okay, once you've done all of this, you just come in here and save it with Control S. Important, okay? Don't just close it. Save this notepad file and then close it. Anyone who's gotten stuck with changing this file?
Rajmeet, should we also close that previous
command line?
What it's called? Yeah, that command black notepad or whatever it's called.
Yeah, you can close it. Doesn't matter. Because every time you click on this, it will run that automatically.
Awesome.
You can close it. Okay, once that is done, you're basically done with your Stable Diffusion Web UI. With fingers crossed, every time now you run this, like this thing here, Windows batch file, if you double click it, it will bring your favorite command line prompt on it. And okay, no, we're not done yet. So now that you've done that notepad thing, right, you just double click on that web UI thing. Now is like the most meaty part of this entire process, where it's actually going to download and install all the packages that you need for the web UI to run. So I'm expecting this is a place where people will get stuck. Where currently it says collecting torch 2.0.1. Okay, this will very much depend on your system configuration and your internet speed. Because it's going to download a bunch of text. Yes, Ajit.
What did you click to get to this screen?
Yeah.
check it
So
out.
inside your stable web diffusion folder, right, you had this thing called web UI user, Windows batch file. इसको सिर्फ double click किया बस.
Okay, okay. Previously we dragged it.
Don't unmute from your side.
I cannot
Previously we
understand what you
dragged
say.
yeah.
Hold on. Hold on.
Hello.
Previously we dragged.
Why are you unmuting from your side?
I feel like I'm speaking to AI already.
Because my speakers are on. We should use my this thing.
Okay, so I was asking,
Huh.
so previously we had copy pasted it to Notepad, that's why it was opening differently, right?
Yeah, because we wanted to edit the actual content of it. Now we're actually running that thing itself.
Okay, got it.
It's like when you have a game, you double click on it, it just works that way. But if you want to do some chirkhani with it, that notepad thing is basically some chirkhani for us to make it work better. That's why you dragged it in notepad. You could even right click here and say edit if you don't want to drag into notepad. That will also open this file only.
Should we remove?
Acha.
Okay, if everything is going right, you should have a bunch of these colorful things here, like you see on the screen, and it will keep saying a new version of pip is ready. Install it. Just ignore it. Okay.
It's not happening for me. It's saying access denied.
Which part?
When I double click it,
Huh.
okay, it's saying. Wait, I just.
Did you save your notepad file before clicking?
I did.
Yeah, if you can share like a screenshot with me.
Okay, got it. No, fair enough. I think an external app was denying it. I just had to give permission.
Yeah.
Since Ajita and I are in office, this may take a while for the two of us.
No, so actually it is even taking a while for me. Like if you see at the very bottom here, it says installing GFP Jan. Where are you currently?
We are at the first downloading.
I understood. Okay, it will take anything between like, I don't know, 20-25 minutes.
Acha.
Depending on the internet speed in office. What's the internet speed currently?
Pata nahi.
It's saying around 600 to 800 kbps right now.
So then it will happen
It's saying
tomorrow.
7.5 Mbps for me. So
Okay,
maybe
don't
I'm
worry.
eating what it is.
Don't worry. Leave it for a while. Just leave it for a while. Yeah. Importantly, don't mess anything while this is happening because it is actually installing a lot of things which we need. So if you look at here, installed X formers. Um, Now we're doing code formers. We did GF Pana. At some point, it's going to start putting Torch. These are basically your Python libraries which enable the AI thing to work. You don't really need to know it. I'm just saying it. Okay, we've gotten to the end with me. It's the last thing when you get is launching web UI with arguments. Whatever you had put in the notepad file, this thing here, that means it's done. And like now, any moment it should launch. How many people actually got to this point? I'm just interested in knowing. Like when?
I did.
Okay, Kriti, nice.
But I think it's
Pallavi and
taking a
Ajita
lot
did.
of time. Yeah, I think it's taking a lot of time for me as well.
Mine's also downloading. It's taking a bit of time.
Yeah, it's gonna take a while.
You might also feel like your this command line thing is like it's crashed or something. It's not responding, but it will happen over time.
It's still on the first one, which is 2.6 GB.
Shivang, is
Yeah,
yours
same.
2.6 out of 2.6, like fully done?
No, it's 0.3 out of 2.6.
Oh, okay.
ETA is 36 minutes.
Same for me. 32 minutes.
Cool. So once this is installed, basically we'll have a stable diffusion, right?
No, there's one more important step that has to be done, which is you have to download a model, the SIT VI thing that I showed you in the beginning.
Correct.
that has
Yeah.
to be put in a very specific folder here on your thing, and once that is done, it should work. So I don't think for me it will take that long. I'll just show the entire process anyway.
Mm.
And I'll
Yeah.
share a screen recording of this so you can like follow along later if you want.
But what I'm assuming is you can, while this is happening, you can still do that uh, thing na, on the side. Just sit.
Yeah, I could install it, but I won't like paste it in here because some things might mess up.
Acha.
In the meanwhile, I'm dropping two links. One is for sit VEI. Uh, this is where you can get all your models. And the second thing is a Patreon page link of a very kind guy who's given us styles for free. Basically, this entire process that I told, nothing of this is something that I have come up with. There's this guy called Sebastian Kampf. I followed his YouTube video to the T, and it worked. So that's the entire process that I've showed. And it's this guy's Patreon. Like if you were to look at my screen right now, this is how Civit AI. I mentioned Civit AI. Civit AI. This is how it will look, and your the other link will look like this, the Patreon page. So you want to come in here and download whatever you want. It's very like confusing, to be honest. So just come in here and search for Deliberate. Deliberate is something which is very nice. This cat photo here, right? You could use something more complex as well. I don't know, but this is very reliable. As in, I've been using it. It works fine. So once you come to this page, let me just drop this page also, so that's easier. Then you come in here and just download it. This is also 2 GB, so it will take some time to download.
What's the purpose of the Civil AI page is to get Deliberate, which is a model that we need to download, correct?
Yeah, it's called Checkpoint. If you remember at the beginning when I was showing it, there's a thing called Checkpoint, uh, which basically gives like information as in what kind of stuff you want. So if you were to scroll, like explore this page, you will see the kind of things people are making with this particular model, and like reviews and complaints of it not working or whatever. And then there are a ton of models like it's like a rabbit hole. You can keep going in.
So, what is the reason behind choosing deliberate as the model that we are going to use? Anything specific?
No, it's just that it's very basic, and it gets like the job done. It looks nice, to be honest. Because like at what point are you gonna be like, huh, this works? Because it's just so diverse. Like it's a bit confusing. And deliberate is also one. If you look at here, it has a 4.93 out of 5 rating, and it is from December 5, 2022, which is like it's been here for a while, so it works fine.
Okay, cool. And when you download this, does it need to be in a specific folder, or are we going to
Yeah.
get to that later?
No, we'll get to that later. As of now, I just put it in my downloads folder.
Okay, cool. And the Patreon page is for what exactly?
Yeah, the Patreon page, if you scroll here till the point where you find this attachment called styles.csv, you just click on this here. Again, the same process. You're going to save it wherever you want. Just save it in your downloads folder. Styles
Okay.
is, if you see in the beginning, I had chosen photorealistic portraits on the right side, or I'll show there's some illustration styles as well, hologram, illustrator, whatever. Those come from the styles.csv.
Got it.
Is the last impress anything to any key to continue? I don't know. I haven't come up until there yet. No, sorry, Karina. The last step should be your web UI interface should launch. That's when you know it is done. So when it says any press, is this saying press anything to continue? Can you share a screenshot?
टू अपडेट के बाद टू अपडेट को इग्नोर करना है.
To update.
ये टू अपडेट run this command that I have to ignore.
To update pip now, or to update run this one that you see on my screen.
Yeah, yes. Yeah.
Ignore that. Ignore.
Cool.
Pip is just the Python library saying वो new version है वो ले लो. But वो नहीं करना है हमको because you see in the beginning only I told कि Python का बहुत specific version ही चलेगा इसके साथ. So वो update नहीं करना है actually.
ठीक है.
After that is fine. Just let it work. It's okay. It will take some time.
Got it.
Okay, so if it's shut now, try double clicking on it once again. The web user UI thing. So it should start from where it had left, ideally. I don't know. It will depend. Okay, so it says Torch is not able to use GPU now. And it says add dash dash skip dash torch dash CUDA dash test to command line args. So this is what you have to do. And basically what command line args is the notepad thing that we did. Karina, you following? Hello. Yeah, okay. So the notepad thing that we did, just open your web user batch file again with notepad and whatever it says dash dash skip. Let me put it here on the chat. Oh, mine launched stable diffusion. Anyway,
Uh,
let me just put it here for you.
sorry, I sent you a screenshot. That's on WhatsApp. That's what I'm getting.
CUDA test. So Karina, just add this dash dash skip dash torch dash CUDA dash test. Where you're gonna add it? You're gonna add it here to your web user notepad file towards the end of it. Just add it here and save it and then run it again. Okay. So my stable diffusion has launched. I'm just gonna try and see. 1 second. Commit hash. No, let it happen. Just don't do anything. It's doing some things.
It says press any key to continue. Should I just?
Mm,
Yeah, same to me.
can you share a screenshot of that?
Yeah, I'll share.
I pressed any key and now it's gone.
Open it again.
Where has it gone?
It's committing hash again.
So I think you have to open it in the notepad and you have to change.
What do I have to change?
ये जो when we something है ना, he sent something on the chat.
The same thing, like with Karina, right? You say add skip
ये torch ये किसके आगे ऐड करना है?
command line RX के end में. Wait, I just showed ना वहाँ पर. देखो ये था notepad
जो
में.
after split attention.
Yeah, after that. But keep it on
After
the
split
same
attention.
split attention V1. Keep it on the same line. Like don't take a new line नीचे.
Okay, add एक space add करके ना.
हाँ एक space add करके dash dash from here whatever it is skip.
Now I save it.
And now open it again.
Rajni,
Hmm.
what if like right now it's taking too much time to download? So like जैसे ये मतलब ये यहीं से resume हो सकता है ना if I like it doesn't get downloaded right now तो फिर
मैं कैसे बताऊँ?
यार
हो जाएगा. I don't know, but like छोड़ दो ना PC पे छोड़ दो थोड़ा टाइम के लिए. Let it happen.
हाँ नहीं that I'll do but next step तो फिर अभी तो सेशन चलता थोड़ी ना रहेगा ये.
तुम मेरे को बाद में पूछ लेना. मैं कहीं जा थोड़ी रहा हूँ.
ठीक है. नहीं मतलब वो वहीं से हो जाएगा. लाइक कुछ होगा तो नहीं ना उसमें.
नहीं, don't worry, we'll figure कुछ होगा तो. Yes, Asta.
Because it's taking too much time for me.
It will take time too. Yes, Asta.
Yeah, so Rajmeet, again, that torch thing is not able to use GPU.
Did you add it in your command line?
I added it, but after that, what do I need to do?
Run it again, your web user. But this time don't edit it, just double click on it. This part.
Just double click on it again. That is what you're.
Yeah. Oh, Paran is launched. Okay, nice. We have one successful candidate here. Do you see something like this, Paran, on your screen?
Yeah, exactly like that.
Okay, awesome. So this is like a very vanilla stable diffusion with nothing in it. Okay, and we haven't even put a model here. The Civit AI thing you were asking is gonna be here. Okay, once we put it in there, but let it be empty for the while. And even with vanilla stable diffusion, you can do something like a cat with a hat. And
Rajvi is still saying the same thing.
even after adding those,
Yeah,
do you check the spelling of it?
yeah, I just copy pasted the exact thing.
And you saved the notepad file before
Yeah,
running?
yeah.
Acha, share the screenshot once more. So even with like your vanilla thing, if you put in drop prompts, try doing this for run if it's just generating something. Now the speed at which it generates will be very, very dependent on your GPU. So don't be alarmed if it's not happening so fast.
Yep.
It is generating?
I'm just checking. Give me a second.
People who are trying to do that skip torch Cora test thing, how far have you got? Is it working?
Rajmita, I've shared the screenshot.
Can you share a screenshot of the notepad file also? Acha, it's
Yeah,
there.
notepad is also there. Yeah.
So wait, I cannot make out if it's in the same line for you. Like you see here, try expanding it once. Have you put like an enter before pasting it?
No, I haven't. I followed the same line. I'll share that.
I think after V1 you don't have a space. Uh,
Yeah. So I need to add that space, right?
yeah, space is needed. See now all the arguments have a space. This is very specific, like you can't mess with this.
Okay, got it. I've added it. I'll try to relaunch them.
Okay, so for those who are done, which is only for Run, next step is we downloaded the model. If you haven't downloaded yet, it's going to be in your downloads, deliberate V2 save tensors. You're going to come into your stable diffusion web UI folder. Okay, this thing that we cloned from Git. And you're going to come into models. There's somewhere where it says models. You're going to double click here and you're going to go into stable diffusion. It says put your stable diffusion checkpoints here. One is something which comes by default, which is what it's using, but we want a better one. So you want to come in here and just paste this here, the deliberate V2 save tensors. Save tensors. Okay. That was for models. And the second thing you have to do is you want these styles here, because currently you don't have any styles. When you take this, there's no drop down here. So for styles, you want to come in that thing that you downloaded in your downloads, the styles.csv file from that kind person that we downloaded. You're going to come in here and drag it in the root folder only. I think so. Let me see. There doesn't be a specific folder for styles. Just drag it in the root folder. Root folder. So now for this model to show up here and the styles to show up here, I have to launch this again. So I'll just shut this and launch it again. Every time you're launching, you want to launch this file, Windows batch file, web UI user. And because we've put auto launch in your command line args, it should just launch your Chrome automatically. Okay, so once you are here, you should see your model, deliberate V2 save tensors, and you should see your styles here, all of these beautiful things. For those who are waiting for that thing to happen, if you have any prompts, let me know. I will just show you a few different styles we can use. So there's a vector illustrations. Let's try vector illustrations. Give me a prompt very quick. I think there were some prompts at the beginning. Front profile. Okay, very descriptive. Muskan. Close up. Profile of an Indian farmer. Close up of fave. I have no idea. I have no idea what that means.
Face.
Okay. Okay. Face. Okay. In a luscious green field, there's cows in the field. The farmer has a tall. I am not sure how about the comma situation is, but I do it to like my own decision. Indian farmer in a green field with cows in the field. farmer is holding a tall glass of milk with froth. He has a milk mustache. Okay, interesting. I don't think vector illustration will look good here, so we're gonna take. We can take realistic photo portraits. Let's try how that works. And your sampling method, Euler A is like a base model. One model which works well is S. DPM plus SDE Karas, this one. Doesn't really matter.
Okay.
Anyway, it's just generating random stuff.
Which one do you use the most in sampling method, or does it depend on this? Like how, like right now you said use either this or this, but how did you make that decision on?
By watching a ton of YouTube videos and seeing what they're using.
Okay.
It's basically like a trial and error process. There might be a documentation of it. I don't know. This is your milk farmer. Does it work?
Oh, yeah. I was expecting a healthier looking farmer, but that's probably the prompt and not.
Yeah. So the more descriptive you can get, I think something like. I'm facing the camera because I want to see front view.
I think then front profile can make face profile. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I don't think it understood milk mustache.
It understood a mustache. Yeah.
I mean, even if this uncle had a milk mustache, you wouldn't be able to make out. So it's.
So maybe so I'll tell you. Can you save this first?
No, so everything that you generate here, okay, this is also one point that you need to know, will always be saved in a folder called outputs on inside your Stable Diffusion web UI. So if you come in here, you'll see a folder called outputs, and here you'll have text to images, and so everything that you generate will be saved here. You don't have to.
Oh, every single thing.
Yeah, everything.
And it's all high definition.
No, so high res is something that you will have to come in and do here. So right now it's 512 by 512, which is pretty low res if you were to see this image. You don't have a lot of details in here. So one thing that I found out from experimenting is don't make this high res here, because that A will take a lot of time to generate and it's not very reliable. So just click on this button here called high res fix. Okay. And when you upscale by 2, this will resize it from 512 to 1024/24, which is almost HD sort of. So then it generates it at 512, but then it upscales it by 2. So this will be a much high res image.
Okay.
Okay, launch the Farina, nice. Try putting just some random thing like a cat or a dog or whatever, and try generating it once to see if everything is working.
Now, what if you wanted to take this image but turn it into a video? Then you would save it from here and then go to your After Effects or Photoshop and whatever, and then do the rest of the editing.
No, so for that there is an extension inside Stable Diffusion. It's called Diffusion. I'll see if I can install it right now and show. But I will definitely not be able to generate a video out of it because that will take a long time. Even on my system, it takes a lot of time to generate random images.
Got it.
Although
even if it's sorry, go ahead.
No, I was saying I'll give you like a brief for anyone who's interested. Is any video person still here? Ajita's here. I'll just give a brief glance through of how to like tweak settings and everything. But yeah, go ahead, Muskan.
So even if it's something like let's say this is the image, but I want it's not a video per se, it's like a short GIF where the zoom in is only in the glass of milk, because let's say I'm selling my product that I'm selling is milk. And so that extension will work for videos like these as well, and then you can generate it by writing a prompt, or how will it work?
No, that sounds too good to be true. that's what it will do is it will generate completely random images based on your prompts every certain number of frames. So that is why you cannot really make a consistent sort of animation out of this yet, because every time your image is going to be different. So there is a way you can fix it, like there is some calculation you do with the seed where you tell Stable Diffusion to keep this image, or if you could, I don't know, in Paint you'll have to do one frame. But yeah, making videos out of this, I don't really think it's very possible right now. For images, you can like just use it as a straight up image.
Last question. What if like you want to keep the prompt same, but you don't like the image generated? So can you
Yeah.
regenerate another option with the same prompt?
Yes. So if you come in here, there should be something called as a seed somewhere. Yeah. You see this very big number here, 40 Okay, you copy this and you paste it in your seed.
Okay.
So now it should ideally generate this image only, but with some better, like how in Photoshop you have a variation of it.
Acha, got it.
So some feature will be different.
Something into it.
Yeah. Again, this all comes down to your system. Like, if you don't have a very strong system, all of this is not going to really help because you'll be like one day lag raha hai ki image generate karna na.
Okay, so my install is at a 14% and I have to hop on to another call. If I get stuck anywhere, Rajmit, I'll drop you a message.
Yeah, but I'll charge for it.
That's okay.
Cool. Cool.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Pallavi. So, like you see, it's really draining my GPU out right now, 95%. Again, this is because we did the high-res fix. If we would leave it at 512, 512, it wouldn't. And we also did a seed situation. So I don't know how different this is actually going to be.
Rajmeet, any idea how it performs on Mac? Like the performance?
No, so for Mac, every bit of the process that we did won't really work because Mac doesn't allow you to interfere with. So basically, when we installed Python, right, and we installed Git, we just did a next, and every time Windows comes up with this pop-up where it says, "Do you want to allow this app to do change?" So we allowed these apps to interfere with our system at some level, which Mac doesn't allow you to do. So that's why it doesn't work natively. Although you could use the online version of it. I think Stable Diffusion has an online version where, but it is, I think it's like some certain number of prompts or whatever. You can use that.
Okay.
For those who are still installing, can I know like the progress or something? How far has it come? Asta, Ajita.
Yeah, I am on 14% of installation.
Okay, it's installing GFP Gen.
The last bit, the ticker that was slightly bigger than, it's not colored. That one.
The absolute last line that should come is something like loading web UI. And then it should just launch this straight away.
Got it. So it's 3.97 GB. It's some 764 has happened.
Got it. Internet speed is what matters.
I'm still at the first download. वो 2.6 वाला GB जो था.
Oh man. You start coming to office then. It's better here.
Okay, do we want to play with Stable Diffusion or if that's okay? Like you guys will take it from here. I don't wonder that.
I tried to generate. I would recommend everyone just try and generate one image before like the session ends because I tried to generate one image and my whole Google Chrome crashed. So
yeah, that crashing is very normal. It'll see if anything goes wrong with this, right? You go back to this thing. That you will get an exact detailed thing of what error it was. So if you look at here, it should be something like CUDA out of memory. That's a very common error.
But that thing is also closed. So how do I reopen that?
Just double click on web, the thing. Just launch it again.
Oh, awesome. Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
I think now I have reached to launching web UI.
Oh, that's the final thing. Yeah. After that, you should just get the interface. If you want to use it as a brainstorming tool, though, then don't do these high-res fix things. And if you want, you can even bring this down. So, like, I'll just show you. Like, if I do let's say, make it very pixelated. If it's taking too long, right? This is what you want to do. 64 is the least it's letting me go. So if I generate this super dope looking image, if I just want to use it as a brainstorming tool, I don't need this high-res detail and stuff. So I go 64, you'll see it will generate way too faster, but It's gonna probably mess things. No, no, don't go solo. I'm trying to see how low could you go. Can we see 500? 500 से पहले ही था. If you tried halving it like 250, you'll have to play with the settings. Even sampling steps you could reduce. So yeah, you get like something worth playable. If you reduce these settings, it'll be a little easier to play seriously. Okay. The reason I insisted on getting these styles is because now you can convert it into a vector illustration as well. It is very nice. Instead of realistic photo portrait, this is too realistic. I want it to be in vector illustration, so I can do that. Or I can try space hologram. How far have we reached, Aditya?
Got it. So this is essentially after we do these two things,
Yeah.
It'll be as good as what you showed us earlier, right? Before deleting.
Deleting what? Yeah,
Deleting it, right?
yeah. Right now it is pretty much yeah, where it should be.
Okay.
Only two things. Model is important, which we took from here. Civet AI and this style is not like necessary. You can do without it as well. But again, if you want variations like these, then the styles will work.
Got it.
Make it
So
animated.
my 2 cents right now is it's fun, like you said. It's a game that you play right now. Uh, I think what this will be very helpful for is architecture, those sort of designs right now is what I feel. Because you said that after this you anyway have to use Photoshop, right?
No, so
Uh,
I feel architecture again, it's not usable because I'll tell you what, architecture specific projects would require specific dimensions, and you cannot like it won't be possible that you put in the certain dimensions for a building and you'll get exactly that. You might get something close to it, but then the client is like, this is what our building is. So then I the way I look at it is great for referencing. It is great for brainstorming, for storyboarding, but as like a final product, there has to be some and a lot of work that goes into making it look like.
Correct. So it's similar for like our designs also right now, right? We'll get like a base, and then you still have to use Photoshop.
Yeah, which is why I feel like when we do put these out, I don't know when that is going to happen, but it's almost misleading to put the caption as AI generated art, because AI generated art would mean like you take something like this, you put it on Instagram and call it off. Then you have just basically at that point put in prompts, and whatever AI gave you, that's your AI art. But if we are integrating it into the brand in some or the other way, there's no way this is going to give you that. So a lot of work will have to be done, and I'm not talking like just adding text or whatever. A lot of cleanup will have to be done. A lot of things won't work. Like for example, let me see. Yes, Aditya.
So what I was saying, sorry, no,
Yeah,
go ahead,
go ahead.
go ahead.
Okay, so all these images, Rajmeet, they leave a watermark also. So is there a way we can remove these?
No, this watermark is extremely random. This because this image is extremely random. The other images that I showed, they didn't have a watermark. Again, this comes down to where it is sourcing images from. Is this sourcing it from a site where it had a watermark, and it's not even done a great job at replicating the watermark exactly. It's just some smudged version of that watermark. So there's no such standard that it will come with a stable diffusion watermark or something. At least as of now, there's nothing like that.
Correct.
It's
Got it.
very nice. With everything, it is very random. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Thanks.
Welcome.
So what I was getting to is even mine launched. Sick. getting to is it's very initial stage right now. For you to get final output,
Yeah.
it's still going to take a lot more time for sure, but like a lot more. How do I put this? Like basically, they should be able to get um, access to the internet for this to work properly. So, for example, if I say I want a Coke bottle in that farmer's hand,
Hmm.
that level will be the final output that I want as a design, right?
Yes.
Which I won't be getting at this point, and I don't see that happening in the near future also. But it's a good entry. This is the future. We all know that, but it's at a very early stage. Because
Even.
sorry, just your Canva, your Google has AI now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you prompt Canva correctly, if you prompt, I'm sure Shutterstock and all these guys will also get in. Uh, if you prompt them that you want this image and then you anyway have to, Photoshop it,
Mm-hmm.
then it's just similar. This is just giving you more sci-fi stuff. You know what I mean?
From a design perspective, all it does is it reduces your trips to Shutterstock and FreePick as a starting
Correct.
point.
Correct.
It just does all of that for you, and then you do your own thing on top of it.
Correct. Correct.
But even when it comes to a point where I'm able to put a prompt saying this guy holding a Coke bottle, right? Even that by itself is not going to work, because what if the client is like, I want it in the other hand, or I don't want it this way, or I want it in a different. You basically don't have modular control over this piece of art. It's just what it is. Like, unless you go into in paint and then you hope that you keep your fingers crossed that it will look similar to what it earlier was. It I don't know. It might come to a point you can't really say with AI, because like 3-4 months back we wouldn't have thought AI would reach here, like before ChatGPT came in.
No, fair enough. I think there is a future. I can see that also. How is this learning? It's machine learning. Now, the more people prompt,
Yeah.
the better it's getting, right?
Yeah. It has yeah. It's like a tree which keeps compounding.
Got it. Got it. Yeah. No, I mean but it's still a very very long way. I feel.
Yeah. I don't know. It might just happen sooner than we think, but let's see.
Yeah.
For those who have launched any, you tried putting something, does it work? Are we in working condition? Then we can probably call off the session. Otherwise, if anybody's stuck somewhere, we can try figuring something out.
Rajmeet, I've shared a screenshot with you. I'm stuck there, I guess.
अभी भेजा
हाँ chat पे भेजा है PC पे.
वो ना installing
हाँ
GF page and वो होगा वो that let it happen.
अच्छा वो और उसके आगे होगा क्या?
हाँ होगा. That's this like almost second last stage.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. I mean, this I wanted, but I don't think I would have done it via a YouTube video. So this is really really. How do you get the black version? Mine is white.
No, so that is I think inside your settings.
Yeah.
There should be something
Ah.
called as theme. Styles.csv Ajita pasted in the root folder. Stable web UI over here pasted. Styles. There should be somewhere called a dark theme on our system. I mean, this is how I figure everything out. GitHub is very kind enough to just give you answers. Theme dark.
No, I think I feel like your Google is dark mode.
No, this is Edge actually. So, it could even be like your Chrome default settings, whatever browser default settings.
Right.
Because my
No, fair enough. This was really really great. We'll all start using this and keep sharing stuff. And I also feel like there will be developments onto this, right? This is only how much you know at this point.
Yes. Okay. One important thing before we end. What if you wanna update this thing, right?
Yeah.
Update like as the Git updates. This is the root. So automatic 1111 wherever you put this inside उसके अंदर stable diffusion web UI था just यहीं पर इसी में डाल दो. See, it's the same location as where you are launching a web user batch file from. You see yes, that is also. Okay. So if you want to update this, you want to come in to, this is an important step, okay? Anyone who has actually put this in your system, just keep note of it. Just keep note of this. Come into here, stable web diffusion. Again, this thing, I want to open this in command prompt. Now by this point, we know how to do that. You just come in here and say command cmd. So now you are not inside automatic 1111, you are inside the folder that we generated through cloning in the third step. Okay. So once you are in here, you want to type a command called git pull and hit enter. This will update your Git repository. Now it's currently showing already up to date, but if there is some update that you need to take, it will update it and that will work. Git pull. I will drop it here as well. Karina, is it loading? Are you done? Are you stuck somewhere? Are you able to see an image?
I think she dropped off her, this thing crashed.
Okay, very normal. Yeah, cool, very normal.
Mine, it's saying 10%, the prompt that I've given, and 36 minutes ETA. So I am expecting a crash.
So what is your configuration, system configuration?
I think it's 4 GB RAM.
So
GPU to.
So 4 GB it will struggle. It will struggle a lot.
Yeah, I figured.
So if you want to like really take it seriously, you just do a one-time investment and get a better graphical.
Understood.
But again, this is better than. No, I don't know. I've seen some tutorials of Midjourney, and Midjourney gets like crazy amount of details in it. Like you can actually give it prompts of this person wearing this clothes, where with this style is like crazy. And the way they're handling it is also very different. This again, it's free and it's basic and it's like gets its job done. But I feel for our use case, especially for designers here, we can get away with just this as of now.
I've been using Midjourney also. The problem is the prompts are as like you'll have to learn codes.
Yeah. You have to like the command line args which we did -- x formulas -- you do that for every prompt basically. That's
right.
what.
So all that is really taxing.
Now here you just come in here and put in some text and then it will just somehow work.
No, but great session, yeah, Rajmeet. Thank you so much for this.
Thank you.
We'll use it on a proper system. Yeah, it's going to help us for sure.
Yeah. Anyway, we are supposed to get like a better system in office, so if we can like keep this in mind that okay, then we can even use it for this purpose.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. I don't think I have any further questions. Anyone else?
If you stuck at this at some point, like just you can message me later as well.
Yeah, I might have because I haven't done it yet. That's why. So yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
But
Rajan, I just wanted to.
Yes.
I just wanted to know the process further. Like once it's launched, then what do we need to do with the Civet AI thing and.
You download that model from there, deliberate.
Okay.
See the link I put above Farhan's image. That is your Civet AI. That's the deliberate model. Just download it.
Yeah.
It's a 2 GB file, and you wherever you download it doesn't matter. Just cut it and paste it in this place. I have put after Farhan's image. See,
Okay.
this is for me, see A1111 Stable Diffusion Web UI model Stable Diffusion, but depending
Okay.
on wherever you installed it on your system. Inside there's inside the root folder there's a folder called models, and inside models there's a folder called Stable Diffusion. उसके अंदर
Right.
paste.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Got it. And after that,
After that, if it's already running, your web UI shut it and then run it again.
okay. Got it.
The way you run it is just double click on the batch file.
Okay.
Cool, Rajmeet. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay.